Okay, in this video, I'm going to explain to you how I use Canvas, just so that you're familiar with the different options, the different links that you may need to go into to complete things and to turn in things. So first off, your Home tab. Notice that when you are home, I have it set to being open to your modules. So if you also go to the Modules tab, you're going to see the exact same thing, okay? So modules are broken into the different units that you are going to be doing in your book. We call these modules. So not only are they called modules in Canvas, but they're also called modules in your book. So the first module I have here is notice is getting started. And it's just kind of how to get started with my class here online. The second module then is this one called Essential Computer Concepts. It actually goes along with your textbook. So if you've watched the video on how to use your textbook, then this will make a little more sense to you. But if you go into the red pages, those are your essential computer concepts. The first page for every module I have as just the overview. The overview is going to break it down to you and as to what you're going to be learning, the different pages in that unit, so that you know how to find it in your book. And then any key points that I may need to break down to you. Now you're going to notice that that opened up as a page. So underneath each module is where you will see these pages at. So if I go back to modules again, this is kind of how you navigate through. So I was in Essential Computer Concepts. I was in that overview. You're going to notice the second thing that I have typically is either your assignments or directions. So for instance, managing your files, I have the assignment and then your directions. But we're going to go into the ECC directions. And I've just broken down to you what you need to do. So you're going to read the entire red unit that is found in your book on these pages. And then you will plug those answers into the ECC review questions quiz for grading. So there are some quizzes, there are some questions found at the back of this red unit. So if you flip your book back to ECC 29 and ECC 30, there are some questions that you're actually going to be able to answer in your book. So you can look up every single one of them. And then you're going to plug in those answers into like a quiz type format, so it'll automatically grade it for me. Okay, so we're going to go back again to our modules. And so we just read the directions. Now here's your quiz. Notice that there's only, if I go ahead and click on that quiz, notice that there's only 17 questions here. So when you look in your book on page ECC 29, you're going to see the first 14 questions. If you go to page ECC 30, you're going to see the following 17. Notice that I am not requiring you to answer the questions 18 through 30 in your book, okay? So we're just doing the ones that are multiple choice. All right. When you're ready to start your quiz, you're going to notice that there are 17 questions, that you have 2 hours to be able to complete this activity. You only have one attempt at this quiz. You will see your answers immediately, so you will know exactly what you got on your quiz as soon as you hit submit. You can then go ahead and hit the preview button, and actually for you guys, it'll probably say something like getting started, and you go ahead and click on that, and then you're going to answer those questions in. Now do notice that I do have shuffle answers on, okay? So the answers that you have in your book, so for instance, question 1, which of the following would not be considered a PC? A is mainframe, B is desktop, C is tablet PC, and D is laptop. Because I have the shuffle on for your quizzes, it may not be A, B, C, D, okay, when you answer these questions. So you will need to find the word and select it to answer your question, okay? So I can give you the first one. The first one is A, mainframe, but it may be B in your quiz, it may be C in your quiz, or it may be D in your quiz. What you need to be concerned about is finding the actual word mainframe to answer that question correctly. Again, you have one attempt at this quiz. You cannot save it and come back to it. So once you start it, you must finish it. And again, you will have immediate feedback as to how you did. Also notice that this opened in my quiz link. Okay, so if I go back to modules, you're going to see that that actually completes this module for us based off of our book. So you're not going to take any kind of an assignment type thing or a test over it or do any discussions on it. This is it for this module. If you wanted to find a different way or use a different way to find your quiz, you can also go to the quiz link in Canvas. And here are all the different quizzes that you will be assigned eventually. Now, notice that none of them are published right now, so you probably won't be able to see these if you're trying to follow along, but there will be a quiz for every module that you do in your book. So for instance, again, that quiz that we just talked about, that one called Essential Computer Concepts, there it is. ECC Review Questions Quiz, and there's 17 questions for that quiz. Okay. Another thing that you can do is if I go back to modules, because there wasn't really an assignment with this module, I'm going to go down to this module here, okay, managing your files. And in this module, you are going to have some activities to do, okay? And so to find those activities, you can go underneath the assignments link in Canvas, and you will notice that these are all the different assignments that you are going to have to complete for this class. Okay, so as you can see, there's numerous ones here. If you're trying to follow along, again, these are not published, so you'll not be able to see these because I just publish them as we go. But this is how you will be able to turn in your assignments. Okay. You also will see that you have a link here for announcements. I typically don't use that unless there are or is an issue that many students are having. I may post an announcement to kind of give you some help through that issue. But typically I don't post many announcements. Discussions, we don't do discussions in here, so we actually will not be using this link at all. Grades is where you are going to find your grades at, so you can go check those out as you need to. Files, if you've watched the video about navigating your files, you've already looked at this, but this is where all the files are that you're going to need to complete this course. The syllabus, I don't think I've actually updated my syllabus in here yet since we're just starting out the semester. So I will add that very shortly for you to see. And I actually probably will go ahead and add that in your announcements too, so that you can see that syllabus. Quizzes, again, is another way that you can navigate to find your quizzes. Modules, that would be kind of your one-stop shop in here as far as being able to find things as far as what's assigned and how to find those things in your books and the files you need for those. Chat, I don't think we're probably going to use this much. Chat is where if I'm logged in and you're logged in at the same time, you can actually kind of like instant message back and forth. But typically that's hard to schedule since a lot of people, you know, with an online class, you're not going to be on a certain time every day. So it's kind of hard to schedule you and I to be on at the same time, unless we need to. Of course, we can do that. Just email me and we can set up a time to do that. Attendance, you're not going to be worrying about that too much. And really, actually, all the rest of these you're not going to be worrying about too much. So again, the biggies in my class are the home, which is actually the exact same thing as the module. So those two are the biggies for us in here. Quizzes is where you can find your quizzes, but you also can find them in modules. A syllabus, if you want to review that. Files. Grades, that'll be a big one for you to check often to see how you're doing in this course. Discussions we do not use. Assignments is another way to be able to find those assignments that are how many points they are, when they're due, and able to turn those in electronically. And then you also have the announcements. And again, that's where I'm going to post my syllabus at shortly, so you can go and review that if you need to.